Hi everyone, this is Omer, Product Manager at Hyper. Today I'm super excited because for the first time I'm going to be walking you through what we've been building. A reusable software backbone for AI-ready internal operations. One that's built for developers by developers. So in the Hyper team, we've been thinking a lot about the value of good software. And it's priceless, of course. But we've come to the conclusion that every enterprise idea, if seen as a problem, can be solved with good software. However, most of these ideas tend to die in the first mile. Our best developers are often trapped in monotonous execution and implementation, and they're really disconnected from the context behind why they're building what they're building and how it should be structured. And in today's world, where every business needs to be an AI business, this simply cannot work. So we asked ourselves, can every enterprise be given their own foundational piece of software and use AI to customize it? This is our goal with Hyper. And now I'll walk you through exactly how we're doing it. Welcome to Hyper. Let's start a new project. I'm going to call this Aviation Management System. And this is going to be my internal system for managing aircraft, crew, flight operations, and everything in between. Now, this is where Hyper begins to act as my pre-sales engineer, capturing my intent before a single line of code is written. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. I'm going to hit next. I have the option of uploading my logo, choosing a color theme. Let's go with the blue for today. I'm going to hit next. And it's going to give me three options or three ways to build. I can build with AI, import an existing schema, or start from scratch. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and build with AI. Now, this is a screen where I can play around with my options. I have, of course, a few pre-existing templates that I can use. I can enter in my own prompt based on what it is I'm trying to build. I can select the model I want, or I can always just simply start with any existing data that I might have. So for example, any documents or PRDs, I can always use those too. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in the prompt that I want to do for today. I've explained what I'm looking for, an end-to-end aviation management system. Now this is going to be where Hyper starts to understand my business needs and converts them into a working software foundation. So instead of writing a spec or a PRD, I just describe what I want. From this point, Hyper's LLM agents analyze, structure, and generate the application scaffold. Once I hit next, it's going to start working. And under the hood, essentially what's happening is that Hyper is parsing my prompt and generating collections, fields, and relationships, or the underlying schema. This is replacing what a backend architect or a database modeler would normally do manually. Now, it's going to take a couple of minutes, but I went ahead and did this for us ahead of time. This is going to be my full schema. Now on the left, I can see that each box is a business entity. So for example, aircraft, crews, delays. This is Hyper's scaffolding. It's not static, so it's editable, extensible, and code ready. I can always modify the schema as I need. But the fun part, I can go full screen and get a visual of what that schema looks like. I can also move around these tables just to understand what those relationships look like. I can zoom in and out to have a granular view. Now, once I click Create this app, it's going to bring me to this screen right here. This is essentially a closer look at one of my collections. This is the backbone of my software. So every screen, every form, and the logic in the software is powered by the collections and their schema. At a very basic level, think of it as a table or an object with multiple relationships. Now, everything here is editable. The field types, the defaults, the relationships. all without writing a single line of code. So just to show you an example, I can go ahead and play around with the way this is structured for me. So I can change this to one-to-one, one-to-many, or of course many-to-many as well. The next thing I might want to do is, let's say I want to add some indexers. I can index any field to optimize my search and performance, just like you would in PostgreSQL. For example, we could index flight numbers by dates to quickly retrieve the scheduled flights. I can also go into options to configure how my collections should be structured, so they can be made private, public, or restricted to certain auth roles as well, enabling me to have secure logic without having to build ACLs manually. The next thing I want to do is I want to define roles for my software. These roles are going to be powering access control. So from my admins to my engineers, each role is going to see only what they need, with logic that I can fully customize. Roles and areas go hand in hand. Areas are essentially like workplaces inside your app, so each role gets its own space, its own views, and its own menu. I can configure these using the various settings I have here, but what you're looking at on the screen is essentially the flight operations area. It's a dedicated workspace only visible to flight operations roles. Inside, they can view and manage flights, delays, and schedules. Access is filtered by assignments, and even the menu and UI are tailored just for them. This is going to help me modularize my application without needing multiple apps. I can always jump into automations and create those, or configure the global settings for my app as well. Settings are essentially covering everything from branding and app structure to security settings like rate limits and database credentials. But the real value lies in this next bit right here. So I'm going to click on Generate Code. And now I have a couple of options that I can choose from. With everything configured, I can generate front-end and back-end production-grade code with a single click. So I'm going to click on Export Project. It's going to queue it up. And then once it's done, I can open it up into VS Code or any dev environment of my choosing. But I just want to zoom out here for a second. What's really happened is that within a matter of minutes, my software's master context, along with 80 to 90% of my code, is done. And now I can use tools like Cursor to finish the last mile. There's no black box. The code is completely yours. What used to be more than 100 boilerplate files is now scaffolded and structured in seconds. What we just saw today is Hyper's foundational capability, turning messy intent into working developer-grade software, super fast, super modular, and fully owned. This is not just automation. We've created an environment that developers will want to live in.